Merry meet and bright blessings. Welcome, welcome. Tonight, we're starting to wrap up the series of the spiritual panel of the planets. So we're talking about planetary magic and using the planets in magic, but also the fun part, astrology, because we can't talk about planets without talking about astrology. So this is an open panel. I'm just making sure I'm charging. Yep, okay. This is an open panel, so if you work with the planet Uranus, or if you have worked with it in planetary magic or astrology, please feel free to request and I'll let you up. And yes, so tonight is very, very exciting. So next week, oh goodness, all of a sudden I'm blanking. I'm usually really good. I'm just looking to see what my schedule is. I think I have it on, I hope I have it on my laptop. I know Pluto's the last planet. Let's see. It is Neptune. Neptune is next week, and then we end with Pluto. So we only have 2 more weeks of planetary magic and the planets in our astrological sign. So I know one of the big questions is how do I get my astrological chart? I know that's been like the biggest question that I get asked. So it's really super simple to get it, and it is free. So I'm going to tell you all the 3 places that I know. I know there's a lot of other ones, but these are free and I have enjoyed using them, so I do recommend them. So my favorite is, because it's on my phone and it's an application, is Time Passages. And it is available on iPhone and Androids. So again, that's Time Passages. And then there's astro.com and Cafe Astro, where you can get your astrological chart. And when you're pulling your chart, you do need to know your date of birth, and if you know the hour that you were born. So some birth certificates will have the hour you were born. It is now, I believe it was since the mid-90s, potentially 2000s, it's required on all birth certificates, at least in the United States. The time is on them. But you can always ask mom. Moms know a little better than dads. So I know my dad said, well, it was raining. I mean, like my birth certificate happened to have the time on it. So that's always really helpful. But my husband's did not. And so I asked my mother-in-law, and she could not remember the exact time, but she knew approximately when it was. So that helps. And you can always say, was it before lunchtime, after lunchtime? Was it day or night? So you can always kind of at least get a rough idea, because our planets are always moving. And so some move really, really fast, some move really slow. And so you may not exactly know where your planet was at the time. Sorry. Chappy lips. Should have done that before I started going live. All right. So tonight we are talking Uranus. So, and I know some people giggle when they hear, I mean, it really is super funny to hear it. And I remember my niece, she went to the same daycare as my daughter, and I went to pick them up, and she was so excited because my sister-in-law and I walked in at the same time, and they were learning the planets, and she literally said, your anus. And we're like, no, Uranus. So it is a planet, and it is a funny one, so we can have giggles with it. But let's talk, because we're going to really dive deep in the astrology. So I do the Western astrology, and Bren usually does join as a guest. And look, there he is. I speak his name and he appears. Will that work all the time? And Bren is our Vedic expert. He actually also knows the Western. So a very vast cauldron of knowledge, we'll say that. So very exciting tonight. So I'm going to start with the magical workings. So when we work with the planet Uranus in our practice, our spiritual practices, You don't have to be a witch like I am, because there are ways we can incorporate using the planets without actually practicing witchcraft. But let's face it, those of us that are witches, we love incorporating our planets. So when we work with we are harvesting these energies for innovation, change, and liberation. Uranus is a planet of sudden change and revolution. So it's very, very powerful for anyone who wants to break free from anything that's limiting you, or to embrace that unconventional energy, that unconventional power. Welcome, Bren. Are you so excited?
I don't know if you saw my post that I put up for today.
I haven't logged on, but please share.
Well, essentially what I put up was a video clip of a friend of mine. And it was essentially him just going, you just peek your head over just to look at TikTok for 2 seconds. And then I just put up a picture of Uranus just like what's it called? Like blast, like popping forward up into the screen a few times. And then it does a spin, and then it just goes off the screen. And it was making a Krusty the Clown laugh.
Oh my gosh. See, I was so busy. I didn't even get a lunch break today. Like but I had all these meetings. So I was like, usually like I can jump on. Dang, I'll watch it after. I'll share it after. It's all good.
And like the last part of the video, after when Uranus just like literally just flipped off screen, he just went, it's a reckless hellscape over here. That's the energy of Uranus.
Yes, and it is energetic. Not that any of the other planets aren't, but it is energetic. And we need to embrace it. And I'm like, fingers crossed. I was teaching a class before this, and I was like, oh, we're in for something, because one of the girls in one of my meetings lived in Wisconsin, and she's like, yeah, we have tornado warnings all day. And I'm like, oh. And I look at my phone, nothing, because I'm like, all right. And then somebody else who was in Missouri was like, yeah, we have tornado warnings too. And I'm like, I'm in Illinois. I'm in between both of you guys. And we did get a pretty hefty storm about an hour ago, and the power went out for 15 minutes. And I was like, not when I'm live.
What part of Wisconsin was that student in? Because now I'm curious, because my other half's in Wisconsin. I'm like, no.
I didn't ask. I think she's outside of Racine, in a small town outside of Racine.
Oh, okay. I don't think that's anywhere near Appleton, I don't think. Because that's where he's at, I don't think.
Okay.
I know.
Yeah, well, and like, is he from here? Is he from the Midwest?
Yeah, he's actually funny enough, he's from Chicago.
Oh, okay. Well, then he's going to do like, it's so funny. When I first moved to Chicago, I'd hear the tornado warnings go off, and I would like grab my kids and run to the basement. Well, actually, the very first time it went off, I said to my kids, because they'd started school, and I'm like, did you learn in school what to do during a tornado warning? Like I was quizzing them. I had no idea. And they were like, yeah, you're supposed to go to a basement or a doorway. I'm like, oh, just exactly like earthquakes. I'm so glad you guys paid attention. And you remember all about earthquakes too? So I was like trying to play it off. And then I just grabbed them all and ran to the basement. And so I was always that run to the basement person. Mm-hmm. And then I learned we get them in Chicago, but it's best to actually look outside and go, do I have to go to my basement? So...
Yeah, but I mean, that is the energy of Uranus, because it makes you think, oh, crap. Then all of a sudden, psych.
Like, yeah. Yeah, we had hail about this big, because I was like, oh my gosh, what? Like,
that's
I could tell it was... Yeah, it was really funky, because all of a sudden the light, like, I mean, my room where I do my classes and everything, and where I do my TikTok live, it's a basement, and there's like a little basement window, and the color outside was orange, and I'm like, orange? And then boom, 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 and then power went out. So I was like, okay, and went and checked, and then the power came back on. But yeah, I was like, holy, because I was like, how big are these? So, but
that's that Uranus energy. It makes you stop and think, like, what the heck is this thing? What the heck's going on here?
Yeah, yeah, it was, yes. And it's funny how last week we had all that Jupiter energy. This week we have all this Uranus energy. So it's like, you know what? We're going to make sure you remember us because we're talking about you this week.
Yeah, and I think, well, yeah, because the last week we had, what was it? It was Saturn, and then now we're going to the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Because
Mm-hmm.
Saturn is that restriction, the boxing in, then Uranus is the one that just flip it, like completely
Yeah.
put it on its head.
And next week is Neptune, and we'll round it up with Pluto.
Oh boy, we're gonna wrap Pluto.
Yeah, we got to end it on that note. So then maybe I'll like pick something to soften the blow after that. Welcome, Azriel. We've missed you.
Oh yeah, man, I've been so busy these ants. Um, and I don't know how it is by you right now, but it was raining crazy downtown. You know,
I
the skies
missed.
real dark. So homebound, been working a lot. You know, and I'm so exhausted and I'm beat. You know, it's unbelievable. You know how the sudden change of weather can change. You know, somebody's patterns. But speaking of change, that's what Uranus is all about. You know, I'm not sure if Brent mentioned it. You know, abrupt changes in someone's life. You know, it's a symbol that um, Uranus brings. You know, we have these unexpected disruptions in our routines and stuff like
Mhm.
that. You know, and I'm eager to listen. You know, and see what else is going to be shared, but transformative. You know, when we're able to shift, and adapt to it. So I'm here.
Well, I'm glad
Nice
you
to see you,
survived
Rowan,
that
and those.
storm.
Yeah, it rained. I have the family members out there in this, where we're at, and they're like, "Oh, it's nice out here. The clouds are real beautiful." I was like, "Yeah, let me show you a screenshot of what I'm dealing with over here." But
Oh,
it it's windy. It's very dark, but I'm on the 290 heading westbound now, so
well, I
I
was
can see the
hit with
skies that way
hail.
are a lot more
I
clear.
had I had hail about that size, and the sky turned
No,
orange. Like I'm sitting here teaching class in my little window in my basement. All of a sudden, I'm like, it's orange outside. So the Elmhurst, Villa Park, Lombard area, we were orange and had hail with that rain.
yeah, so it's nuts. And I have one of my cousins text me this morning. They're coming into town, and they're coming from Ohio. So I don't know. I just texted her, "Are you guys here yet? Did you guys make it?" So I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's rough in some of the areas, especially in the south. And toward like your area. But I'm looking over here, and it's looking good. But you know what? It actually synchronicity, and it ties in with tonight with Uranus and the topic. And I know you guys just started. And I'm just gonna mute myself
Awesome.
and listen in.
Yes, yes. So it is really it's interesting how this week we're having all this Uranus energy as we talk about it, and last week we had all that Saturn energy, right? Wait, yeah, Saturn. All of a sudden I was like Jupiter, Saturn. It was Saturn last week. I think I said Jupiter earlier. Wow. See, Uranus is on my mind. Take that many ways. So I'm going to just go for a little bit for the magic, and then I'll just kind of do a brief thing on the astrology, and then I'm going to let Bren take the show for a while with the astrology. But when we are incorporating Uranus into our magical practice or our spiritual practice, we can use the energies for innovation and change. So it really, Uranus governs those breakthroughs, and they make new possibilities for us. They are the planet of unexpected and unconventional, and they urge us to push our boundaries and our limitations. And so again, like we had this unexpected storm, and I mean, like I said early, like a little bit earlier, like someone I talked to said that they were getting tornado warnings in Missouri and tornado warnings up in Wisconsin. So it's going to be an interesting day. Um, we can also use it for freedom and liberation. So Uranus wants to be free from restriction and structure. It's like, let me free. It's like that run around. What is that? Like that movie Old School when they go streaking? That's Uranus. Uranus is literally streaking. So you can think about it. So think about it in that sense. So it does break away from old structures and makes way for new innovations and new changes and new things that you need to add to your life and your spiritual journey. And it's also a time for awakening and revolution. So it's known as the Great Awakener. It prompts those sudden shifts and insights, and it leads to personal and collective evolution. So this can be radical internally or externally. So you may be feeling a lot of that energy because for some reason it's really making itself known, especially today. So we can use this in spell work. So if we want to do any spells for change and innovation, freedom, breaking limits, and honestly, spiritual growth and spiritual awakening, if you're like, I want to jump into this with both feet and learn something like chaos magic, do it and just call on Uranus to help. Uranus loves chaos magic. So, the colors associated with Uranus are electric blue, violet, and gray. The crystals are lapis lazuli, turquoise, and labradorite. And our herbs and that we can make into incense or teas are frankincense, chamomile, and lavender. Don't ingest frankincense though, please. But we can use a chamomile and lavender tea. And Uranus is typically associated with Wednesday when we are looking pagan and magical witchcraft. So when you want to consider working with Uranus is when there is any unexpected or a sudden change. Because Uranus's influence can be very disruptive, and it will prepare you for those sudden shifts and changes because that's what energy it has. It also can help with balance and innovation and bring some stability when you're doing change, which is like, what? Like all this stuff you're talking about? Yes, it can actually, like, as it like helps you shift, it will bring you that new balance. So when you're doing something a little more chaotic than normal and you're breaking a structure to create something new and different in your life, it's going to help you get that balance that you need. And anytime we're doing planetary work with Uranus, we want to make sure that we approach working with it with respect. Make sure you have a clear intention. If your intention is not clear, Uranus is going to play some games with you. It's just like if you work with Loki, you want to make sure that you go with a very clear intention and that willingness to embrace the unknown, because it's going to open up a lot of really great opportunities. So we can incorporate and bring this energy into our magical and our spiritual lives. So how exciting. So, astrologically speaking, I did say at the beginning, but I know we've had quite a few new people join. If you don't know where you are, you can pull your astrological chart on Time Passages, Astro Cafe, and astrology.com. And you know what, Bren? I'm going to let you I'm just going to let you take over. I mean, I've got a couple things, but I know they overlap. So I'm going to let you take over. But if you know any other places people can pull free astrological charts, please feel free to throw that out there. So, all right, Bren.
Let's see here. For recommendations of getting your astrological chart pulled from and whatnot, depending on if you want to go, like, say, if you have an iPhone and iOS system, I would suggest using the app Astro Seek, and that one gives you your chart placements and transits, and it's very basic and gets everything right there. Another one is Astrology Master, I believe. Yeah, that's what it's called. And that one is a bit more fancy schmancy. It has more of the asteroids and more calculation methods. But me personally, I use the app called Cosmic Insights. It's mainly intended for Vedic, and it costs a lot of money, but the material in it is very good, but it can also do Western placements and analysis too. So that's at least what I suggest. Just make sure that whichever one you're going with, that you have it set up in a way where you can be able to understand what info is giving. But that goes from every person to person. But Uranus, oh boy. Uranus, well, I like to think of Uranus as like the court jester. Because he comes in out of nowhere like, what the heck are you doing? What do you mean, what am I doing? Here, what's this box? Open it! Okay. Oh! A boxing glove just came out and just socked me in the face. That's Uranus. And a good way to look at him is like, think of the energy of the North Node, Rahu, but now a physical planet. And Rahu is also unconventional, defiant, goes the complete opposite end of the spectrum where the norm or the society or the common is at. If one goes one way, he goes the polar opposite way. And Uranus is that energy that also has dominion over the element of lightning, because it's zap, it jolts you. And well, when you have somebody come out of left field, oh snap, that jolt. And although Uranus is usually depicted as an elderly man and he looks rather unkempt, that's part of Uranus, and wants to make you think that it's an older. Think kind of like a mad scientist. That's Uranus as well. It's the chaotic madness, but there's also a reason behind this madness that it benefits too. And even though when you have the previous energy of Saturn being constricting, Uranus is the balancing energy of Saturn. You have the constrict, and then you have the sudden breaking of it. And funny enough, when the discovery of Uranus happened, that was also a symbolic representation of us breaking the boundaries of Saturn. Because Saturn is the only planet, it's the farthest planet that we can see without any kind of support from a telescope. So discovering Uranus with a telescope, that kind of opened the possibility for more things to be discovered, which was, of course, Neptune, Pluto, and all the other celestial bodies and asteroids. But so that's why also Uranus represents the expansion of what has already been essentially. Let's see, how am I going to try to figure this out? Because from before we discovered Uranus, we were only fixated up until Saturn. So Uranus is that breaking of the old mode and how we have the traditional things set up. Uranus comes in, opens the can of worms, and then all the worms can just fly out and go farther. Essentially, metaphorically speaking. But Uranus is a physical representation or manifestation of Rahu. Rahu is or manifestation of Rahu. Rahu is usually stereotypically seen as a malefic planet, and we have to be completely honest here. Uranus, despite being comical, he is definitely malefic. As in meaning that, by term malefic, meaning the way that he uses his energetic influence on Earth and us. Is it cruel or is it gentle? Well, having somebody come out of left field and be a pie in the face, well, it could be a bit cruel, but at the same time, Uranus is probably, if not one of the best teachers, because Uranus also makes you have to break your limitation of trying to perceive something. And Loki is probably the best associated deity for Uranus, because Loki, believe it or not, his antics, there was a deeper, meaningful thing behind it, why he did it. Like the case with Balder. Everybody just throws stuff at Balder, then Loki's thinking, these guys, they don't understand how to value something. I think I need to teach them a lesson. Hey, blind guy. What? Why aren't you going to shoot with them and having fun with them? I can't even see. I don't know if I'm even going to hit Balder. Oh, don't be silly. Here, come here. Okay, aim at him. I'll guide your shot. Really? Okay. Mistletoe. Okay, fire. The butter's gone. Oh. Oh well. Maybe you should have appreciated him. Because that is that energy of Uranus. It comes out of nowhere. It's unexpected, but that's also the breaking of also a perspective of like thinking that, well, Loki must be evil. No. What Loki's doing is that he's taking the most noticeable route to make you become aware of something, but it's too late. So it's like a lesson that sticks with you for the rest of your life. It's a heavy lesson, and that's Uranus as well. It does take the harshness and cruelty of Saturn, but it makes it more open. And usually, wherever Uranus is placed, it can be a representation of possibly where, again, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, they are slow-moving planets. So, just because you have, say, like me, for example, I have Uranus in Capricorn in the 12th. Okay? So when it comes to escapism, well, I tend to have this happen. Okay, I need to be able to go and find my peace and quiet and just be meditative. Okay, goes into the quiet space. Something, somehow, some way, just makes me just become just so, like, what is this? Why is this like this? Wait a minute, no, that doesn't make sense. Maybe I should think about doing, no. And Capricorn is a sign that Uranus is like, what? Why am I in this place? I have to have self-control? I have to think about what other people think? I have to worry about a title? But that's not me at all. Because Capricorn is standing in front of society having a title and doing work. The court jester doesn't like that. The court jester wants to be like in, say, like Gemini, Libra, especially Scorpio. Uranus loves Scorpio because Scorpio is that, well, random anvil on the head. And that's also Uranus. It comes out of nowhere, but it can be intense. So, the best way, I would have to say, because in the Vedic text, there is mention of a certain deva, I can't remember his name, that's associated with that electric current. I can't remember his name right now, but in the traditional Vedic texts, Uranus is not really mentioned. Same with Neptune and Pluto. However, though, that doesn't mean that we can't take the rules of Vedic and apply them to the Western system that does use Uranus. Now, a good example is that wherever Uranus is, 180 degrees, which is the opposite sign of it, that's also where your innovation is going to try and make you look and try to change something. So, for an example, me again with my Capricorn, Uranus in the 12th. So, that is looking at my 6th house of daily challenges, afflictions, small pets, animals, daily routine. So, in that regard, that 180-degree aspect is having my Uranus go, you know what? I think we need to change something all the way over there. Yeah, where that other crab's at. Because being in Aquarius, rising, Cancer's there. It is the opposite of Capricorn. So Uranus, this influence is going to try to shatter the limitations or try to make something completely innovative of the house and sign where he's looking at. So for me, I see this ability of trying to bring innovation, of like bringing caretaking to those in poverty, or to provide care, or to change the way that the societal norm goes about caring for individuals that are in poverty, afflicted with ailments, those who can't take care of themselves. And Uranus being also that unexpected, surprising planet. Looking at the 6th house of also being enemies, when I'm going against an enemy, I tend to be like, well, all right, let's see what happens there. Oops. Nope. Whoop. That kind of like how I'm going to describe it. Think of it kind of like if you're watching like a cartoon, and like a comical cartoon like Looney Tunes, and they're trying to whack one another, and they just bend in awkward ways, like sidestep and stuff. Yeah, that's Uranus. And in the same time, the way that I handle against challenges, enemies, and all that, I kind of make it like a bit of a comical slapstick kind of a comedy thing. Make them like the butt of the joke. But it's Uranus is friendly with the planets Mercury. That's probably like his best friend, along with Rahu, the North Node. And with other planets, the Sun and Moon, he's neutral with because, well, it's the king and the queen. He has to be that. Mercury's friendly. Venus is friendly. Mars, not so much because Mars is really strict and wants to do what the king tells him to do. And Uranus just tells Mars to stop being a heady head. Have fun a little bit. The heck are you doing, old man? Don't worry about it. Jupiter, well, the best way to look at it's like you're taking a priest and now you're putting him next to the court jester. Oh, just bless you, Uranus. What are you talking about, Dan White? Bless me? Don't tell me you're going to give me that holy water. Please, no. Oh, you're just strange, my child. Saturn and Uranus are bitter enemies because, well, Saturn is Uranus's child in the Greek pantheon. So you're taking father and son, and they're going to butt heads. One wants to have more self-control and structure. The other one says, nah, forget your structure. Why the heck did you just mess this up? I worked so hard for it. Don't worry, you can do it again. I spent aeons making this thing up. Stupid. This is why I hate you, stupid twat. Yeah. And when it comes to, say, like crystals and gemstones, I have a different approach for it. Any man-made stone, any one that is made by man, including if it's dyed or colored, instantly makes it a Uranus stone because it's going against the norms of society. Mankind is influencing it. That's Uranus energy. You're being innovative to affect its properties. And also lab-grown stones, regardless if it's a blue sapphire, a ruby, if it's lab-grown, it has the energy of Uranus in it because it's not of the natural order. Like, it wasn't made by the earth itself. Man influenced it. That's Uranus. It's that, we're going to change things up here a little bit. But it's still a sapphire, same material, but it has that influence of man on it. So it's like, also, there's like natural perfection where it just comes from the earth. And then there is man-made picture perfect, as in, it's something that is so organized perfectly and used by technology and innovation to make it, that it just seems too good to be true. And that's Uranus. That's the aspect of Uranus coming in and trying to serve you something that looks perfect, but at the same time, it can be hollow. But ultimately, I would have to say, if the personality traits or like the energy of Uranus would have to be something along the lines of eccentric, defiant, self-preservation, self-advocacy, I already said innovative, but creative thinking, technicality, and the best way, I would say, for incorporating him for any kind of magical practice has to be something primarily focused on using the mind. Like the alchemical process, that would be Uranus. And also, that was going to be a weird way of putting it. Uranian? We're going to go with it. Uranian, that sounds weird. The energy of Uranus, I'm going to go with that. The energy of Uranus is more along the lines of also using the alchemical process when it comes to the mental, emotional, and things like that. Because with mental alchemy, you can have something come in and be a thought like saying, oh, I don't know if we should do that. I think we might mess up. You know what, mine? Shh. But I don't know. I think we're going to... No mind, you don't speak. We get that is mental alchemy. You're taking the thought process of the mind, the mental, and now you're bamboozling it. And that even also goes for magical practice. Like, say for example, if you're feeling like there's an energy or somebody taking energy away from you, and you're just feeling that, well, there's nothing in the rule book that says you can make a personal sigil and just make it and with the letters and all that and consonants, then charge it, and then have it have the intention of, okay, whenever somebody tries to influence my energy or even tries to take my energy, they become like essentially energetically poisoned. And then you just draw that symbol on you. That is your Uranus energy. And Uranus also has the energy to completely, let's see, like say if you're afflicted with a curse or a plague or anything like that, or a hex, if you're like that, there's also this way of using something to work smarter, not harder. Because we're so used to having the energy of like banish, cleanse, and things along those lines. The way that Uranus will go about it's like, you know what? Instead of working so hard to clean this mess up and to banish it and then purify and all that stuff, then let's make it simple with one thing. Let's make a symbol that only does this. The effects of that, but flip it. Because when you have that, you're not fighting against it, you're letting it have it, but with a twist. And when you push out energy, it's programmed to only act in that manner. So it doesn't know anything else but just to keep acting like that. But when you have that filter on that flips it, oh, I feel like my health's decaying. Oh, Lord. Then you put that symbol on. Oh, I just feel better. Wow. I feel healthier now. That's Uranus. It just completely flips it. It puts it on its head. And, I mean, that's an example of something that, if you incorporate Uranus, that's what it can do. Days of the week, well, I would have to say Wednesday would be the best day for that because you're using the energy of innovation, and Uranus can be very adaptable. You put them in environments like, oh, another cage? Nope. But how'd you even get out of the cage? You didn't even go through the bars. Yeah, no, I just blinked. Okay. And Uranus is assigned the energy of Aquarius, the sign of Aquarius, and he also considers that his Motricona sign where he feels the most comfortable. He is an exaltation in Scorpio, but he gets pissed off primarily in any sign where there has to be a structure. Capricorn, he doesn't like that. Taurus, he hates the most because Taurus is like fixed. Like, okay, we're fixed here. We have all the wealth. We're secure. Uranus is like, security, secure. What? I have to be defined in security. I have to value being stuck. Huh? But that's how that energy dynamic plays out.
I love how you always, because it just brings it to life. So everybody, please make sure you like the video, and thank you to those who are giving us hearts, and thank you for all the gifts. This is such a fun energy, Uranus is. So Azrael, do you want to add anything so far before we keep moving on?
Oh no, I was actually enjoying it. I do have a question. So is there a specific deity, or it's just straight working with Uranus in order to be able to work with that energy? Because I like everything that I'm hearing thus far, and I do agree. Brent does bring animation to it. Meaning that it becomes more vivid, where you can actually visualize it versus it's just hearing. So it's metaphoric. Also, the aspects of what was brought up, it's like that movie when the guys are running around bare naked. I understood. Working with it as chaos magic. We're going to against what the doctrines have said. We have limitations, but when we're working with it, it's given us the ability that anything and all is possible. With that concept, we have to break the chains of the limitations that the doctrines have, given us, whether it's beliefs, and I'm talking about organized beliefs, or even the school structures. Is there a specific deity, or are we working straight with the energy of Uranus?
I would have to say, well, we take a moment to really think. We have to think of like the energy of Uranus. So, what deities could even have the energy of Uranus in the first place? Well, we can think of, for an example, Rajan from the Shinto pantheon, which is Japanese, because he's depicted as this entity that has these drums, and then he makes the thunder and lightning for him. That could be one. Oh, Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga, that is a Uranus energy.
He would be, yes. Yes. Well, and I would say Loki for sure.
Yes.
Now, in Greek mythology, Uranus is the Greek god that is literally Uranus. And you'll see it spelled Uranous and spelled the same way as the planet.
See, who else would be another one? I would even say this might be a little bit daring, but Pandora, because Pandora's like, but what is this? I have to. I don't know. Should I open this? But I was told not to open it. Maybe just one pig won't be bad. Oh boy. Yep. And okay, Baba Yaga was one. I'm trying to think if there's any other one off the top of my head. What's another one that could be like a goddess though? Let's see. Maybe you could. Well, no, never mind. Probably not that one. Oh, crap. What's his name? He's from Roman, and only from there. Janus. The god of the one that has like the god of portals and something.
That's a good aspect.
Yeah, because that is it's going from one place to another, but in a way where it's like you're transforming into something. It's like going through an archway. I believe it is Janus. He has one head going one way and another head going the other. Yeah, I think that was.
Potentially, we could even say the Morgan in a sense because of her shape shifting.
Yeah, and because of how the Morgan is a triple goddess. I know that.
Yes.
And does she come in times of like surprise calamity, or does she just primarily come around when it's, say, like if there's like something that's like a natural order? Well, I think that's the right way to put it.
Well, I mean, she's going to work with you whichever way, but think about it. Like, she does appear before battles and in battles, and she shapeshifts. So I'm thinking along the lines of the shapeshifting.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that does fit because deception. Oh boy, here we go. Deception. Yep, that's also Uranus because it's just like, oh, I'm totally who you think I am. Ah, no. Yeah. There we go. That just clicked.
And I think we lost Azrael. He probably lost his internet. Like, seriously, I was like, please let me be live at least an hour, weather, because it's been, it was crazy. I mean, super crazy. So.
Now all the hamsters in my head are just like, okay, which one of these deities is going to fit? Let's see. I'm trying to think of any others.
I know, I am too. And I'm like, I swear there was one that was specific with Celtic, and all of a sudden, like, I'm having massive brain farts.
Is it, crud, I'm not sure if that would fit. Would you say, crap, what's his name? Cuchulainn? I think? Or, crap.
Oh, the Puka. Celtic god Puka. He's the trickster. He's the Irish god who's the trickster. I'm like sitting there and I'm like, the Celts have a trickster too.
Ah, yeah, the Puka. Oh yeah, there it is. Yep, I see it. Yep. Poop,
Yep.
yeah.
And Lou's kind of a trickster sometimes too. And then you've got Serduin, and Serduin, she does transformation and shape-shifting also.
Oh yeah, she's the one that had was it her son or child that was not deemed like pretty or something like that, but was
Yes.
very intelligent, and then she accidentally drank instead.
Yes, and her assistant drank it. And
Yeah.
then she eats the assistant and gives birth to the assistant. Yes. So she, I think, would definitely be embodying.
Yeah, I can see that too, because just like, whoops.
Yeah. Yes. The super fun of.
Would you also say goblins too have the energy of Uranus too?
Well, and even brownies would too.
Oh, the brownies. Oh, the
And
brownies.
pixies, and brownies. Those fae folk would definitely imbue Uranus.
Yep, because they're just like, hey, what you doing? Oop!
And they're laughing. They're like, keep saying it. Say it like your anus. And they're like, do it, so we can laugh.
And it's funny enough, when you mention the brownies, I have to say, when I was living at my other place a few years back, a lot of the times when I was looking for something, I always got so frustrated, like, where the heck is this? I looked down, and I know it wasn't there before. It just always appeared there, like my keys. Where the heck are my keys? Right in front of me. And every time I just heard like this little high-pitched giggling noise, and I just accepted the fact, like, okay, brownies, I know you do that because you like me, okay? I get it, but you don't have to make me at least 20 minutes. Like this is from the Universal Celtic Tarot, but this, in a way, kind of is like the Uranus energy.
Yes.
It's pulling the hair.
That's it exactly.
I mean, there's another one.
Planets. The planets are so fun to play with.
I think, look, we've already said Loki, but I'm trying to even think, what. I would have to say any other spirit. Oh well, that's definitely Uranus themed. Because you're probably thinking, what the heck is that thing? Is that a gnome, or is that a halfling? Why is it wearing a flower bud on its head? And why is it carrying a toadstool? It just makes you stop and double take.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does. So those just joining, tonight is our spiritual panel on the planet Uranus as we talk about planetary magic and astrology. So kind of a fun topic. Well, okay, it's a fun topic. It's not kind of. It is a fun topic. And I want to thank everybody for the hearts. I love when you like the videos because that helps bump us up. And thank you so much for the gifts for myself and for Bren. And maybe we'll have Azrael back. So I'm going to just go through real quick, and I'm just going to talk about in each sign, when we have Uranus in each sign. And then, Bren, I'll let you kind of like, if you want to add anything, we'll just go that route for a minute. So when Uranus is in Aries, so Aries energy combined with Uranus's energy is very rebellious in nature. It leads to groundbreaking and breakthrough in leadership and expression. When Uranus is in Taurus, this is emphasizing innovation with using resources and structure. When Uranus is in Gemini, this really highlights communication and curiosity. This is also like, I would wager to guess that a lot of people who are content creators, like full time, are probably have their Uranus in Gemini. Or at least one of the other air signs. When Uranus is in Cancer, this is a lot of changes to traditional family values and like culture in the family. It's like to kind of like fight the conventional norms. They're the ones that also fight the conventional norms in society. Sorry, I forgot like that word. I'm like, my allergies have been bad, like so horrible all day. I have had the hardest time thinking, but that storm kind of cleared them. So I think I was just waiting for that storm to come. All right, so when Uranus is in Leo, this is bringing forward creative talents and self-expression to transform and shift. They're going to do it like a superstar. I like, seriously, every time I think of Leo, I think of that Saturday Night Live character. All right, so Uranus in Virgo emphasizes innovation in health, wellness, and focusing on efficiency. When Uranus is in Libra, it ushers in a generation that will seek new approaches to diplomacy and justice and partnership. They will challenge traditional notions of relationships and also like how to make diplomacy better. Uranus in Scorpio will bring about the mysteries of the human psyche. They like to investigate the hidden truth. And so they're going to bring it out, and they're going to literally like initiate it in their life. So they're going to be the ones that are going to bring out a lot of really great information for us. Uranus in Saturn seeks freedom, knowledge, and a philosophical exploration. They like to travel and like just expand their horizons, both with book knowledge and world knowledge. And Uranus in Capricorn, they will influence through authority and business and career. They will try to make revolutionary changes in the workplace. So they're the person that they hire to come in and clean up problems at work. And they do it, and everybody's really happy with it. So Uranus in Aquarius, they embrace technology and medicine. They challenge the traditional structures, and they try to promote a new way of thinking and a new way of helping bring about better uses of technology, medicine, and humanitarianism. And then finally, we round up with Uranus in Pisces, and Pisces just inspires. They take that Uranus energy and they focus on spirituality, compassion, and intuition, and they connect that with their inner world and then expand their awareness and try to like share that beautiful energy with everyone around them. All right, Bren, anything you want to add?
Yes, and I just went over and I grabbed my tarot deck, and I'm just going through all the cards one by one just to think, okay, so which one of these would fit with Uranus? Let's see here. Okay, so I have my Dean's list, and then after when I go through this giant long spiel of craziness for Uranus and cardstock depictions, we'll then go from there. So if we're going to be looking at Uranus and think, so which one of the court cards would be the most significant or representation for Uranus? Well, let's see here. If we're going to go with the, like if it's going to be like the page, the knight, the king, or queen, well, I would have to say Uranus is the most fitting for the pages. Because the pages are essentially the earth energy, but specifically the page of swords, that is earth and air coming together, and that is Uranus. It is trying to figure out how can I still be of the earth, but then also use this pointy thingy in a way that is different. But now we're going to look at, like, say, the major arcana for Uranus. Now, some of these do have that energy of surprise, completely out of the blue, nowhere. So when we're thinking of Uranus, well, number one, easily without a doubt, obviously, the tower. Surprise! Wrong lever!
Yes, it would definitely be the tower.
Then we have the kicking the bucket card. Except this one is it does share similarities with the tower, but this one is more like, okay, let's move it over. It has to happen. This is the same thing, but like, okay, you didn't listen, so now you're gonna listen. It does have like that bit of a oomph to it. Of course, also a Fool. It's like, oh, there's so much potential outside Saturn's ring. Then you could even also say the World, too. Complete, so now we got to get out of the circle again, which the Fool comes afterwards. You could even also say Judgment, too. Because Judgment is now making you go, okay, but let's see if you made it through. Did you make it? Did you complete the lesson right? No? Whoop, back you go. And then also the Magician. Taking all the materials on the mundane to make the above come down to the below. And other cards that are not of like the major, like the elementals that you can even also say is, well, number 1, 7 of Cups. Because it's like, what the heck? What do I choose here? What? This, I don't know what to do. But then also the 7 of Cups has that energy that's like, okay, pick a cup. But there's a twist, though. One's real and the rest are fake. But what do you mean one's real and the rest are fake? I can't choose one of them. Just pick one. Okay, I'll go with this one then. Guess what? That was the real one. Really? What if I chose the other one? Oh, then you would have been wrong. What? Whatever one you choose is the correct one. But the other ones are illusions. That's the little, like the mental plot twist. And that's Uranus. It makes you think like, so I have to pick one. And if I choose the wrong one, I'm in deep doo-doo. Okay, I'm going to pick this one. Oh, you're right. Well, what about the other ones? Oh, you'd be wrong. But it's like that's paradoxes too. Uranus is paradoxes. It makes you stop and think, but that can't be, but it is. It makes your mind get stuck on something. Uranus is also 2 of Pentacles. I mean, a jester figure in the background, for goodness sakes, trying to get his footing. Another one, Ace of Swords. It comes out of nowhere like, aha, I can think clearly. And 7 of Swords. How are we going to get past this very sneakily? Or how am I going to get these pointy things to the soldiers that need them in the battle? Yoink! That's also Uranus and energy. And I don't know where this came out of the field. The pages, too, are usually seen as messengers in the tarot. And when you have the theme of messengers, that kind of is also Uranus, because it's that new innovation that comes to you. And the pages are like usually seen as children. And with that, something new, and it's a message, so that's how that can also tie in. But now say if we were going to go with Uranus through the signs, well, I guess I'll just do what I always do and act each and one of them out. Uranus in Aries, you're taking the court jester, now you're putting him in the sign of initiative, impulsivity, physical movement, initiative, aggression. So the best way I can describe it is think of it like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, like it's chaotic all over the place in its energy. What else we got? Now Uranus and Taurus, it's like you're putting the court jester, what's that called? In the barn stall, I think that's the best way to put it. And now he's stuck sitting with the cows. So Uranus is essentially now acting like, I'm secure. I don't want to be secure. I want to be surprised. I want to have jokes come out of nowhere. But now he can't because he has to be fixed. and he doesn't like being fixed. That didn't come out right. That sounded weird, but we're gonna roll with it. Uranus and Gemini, the way that they understand another, it's like, you know what? I think I understand and connect with you better just because of our hair color. What? Yeah, you and me have the same hair color. That's how we connect. Same hair color. That's different. We also connect the same because, we both have the same length of an index finger. It's the exact same length. What? That is because Gemini wants that mutual understanding. Uranus goes against the grain, and that's how that is. Exceptionally well, also in terms of coming up with unique ways of communication. And Uranus Gemini can also usually most of the time bring in innovation of like communication devices. For example, having a translator. That's Uranus. Because he's taken that and then he flips it and then he's able to translate. In fact, translation comes from Uranus. Because it's taking something, flipping it into something different. Uranus in Cancer. You're making the court jester now be a mother. I didn't want this mistake. But Uranus, you can't do that. What do you mean I can't do that? I just did it. I'll do it again. Nope. What do you mean no? You have to nurture it. I have to. What do you mean I have to? I have to nurse this thing? Have to. I defy things that make me do anything. So you keep the kid. So the way that they're innovative, it can be, for an example, if society is saying this is how you raise a child, they'll do the complete opposite. Anything that involves like their sense of home, security, and how they nourish or nurture something, it's you wherever Uranus is at, in that house, in that sign, nobody can push you out of it or force you in that direction. Wherever Uranus is at. Uranus in Leo. Oh boy. You're taking the court jester and now you're making him the king. I could see it and I'm having it all play out in my head and I'm just going to say, even I cannot act like that because it is so out there and it is so eccentrically vibrant, that's the best way I could put it, that it's just like, who made the Joker the king? I'm just the king now, so laugh. Ha, ha, ha. Make it real. Yeah, so one's way of fun and games is eccentric. They might find a lot of fun and enjoyment in things that kind of would make people think, what do you mean you find robotics fun? Robotics fun? You find most of your creativity in robotics, which is something that is so mind-bogglingly pinpoint needing accuracy. You find that fun? It's not fun. You have to think of every little thing, by the way. Uranus in Virgo. Oh. You're now taking the chaotic energy of unpredictability and now you're trying to make it become a perfectionist. Yes. So now Uranus is like this. What do you mean I'm still a virgin? But now I can't even make those jokes. Ah, fine. So, you sick? Here. Take that. A piece of candy? Just take it. Oh, wow, I feel... it wasn't really medicine. It was belladonna in the pill. Oh. Well, he's not in pain anymore. Mission accomplished. Uranus Virgo can come up with pharmaceutical influences. And usually Virgo Uranus, whenever it steps in there, there's innovation towards medicine and means of providing care. And Virgo Uranus can also be rather unpredictable. If you're like saying bringing it into like a litigation or law, Uranus Virgo will somehow, some way find a way to metaphorically shred somebody's defense in the legal system. Like, they'll come out of left field with something that clearly can't be pushed back against, but it dismisses the case. It's something similar to that. Uranus and Libra. Well, now you're taking the court jester, now you're making him kind of have to barter and try and find equal ground. Well, again, Uranus, even though it's an air sign, he gets a little confused because he's thinking, I have to be considerate about people and what they feel and think? How do you feel about my act? I really don't care what they think. I just want to go crazy. Uranus is now being forced to be mindful. So this is also where you can see potentially one having an eccentric way of having relationships. Completely erratic. Doesn't mean it's good or bad. It's just, like, for example, if there's more than one individual involved in the connection, that is considered like a Uranus influenced connection. It's not bad or good. It's just, that's just what the energy is. But at the same time, Uranus can also be, if Uranus is influencing, like, say, in a synastry chart, in a certain position, in a certain way, it can influence somebody to not be the most stable and secure in the connection if the certain aspects are put in there. Uranus and Scorpio. Well, you're taking the energy of Scorpio, which is surprise, shock, dark, and now you're throwing, it's like you're taking the most chaotic planet, and now you're taking the most chaotic energy. Oh boy. Well, the best way I can describe it is that it's, think of, what's that clown from Stephen King? It?
Oh, yeah.
That's Uranus and Scorpio. Uranus and Sagittarius.
We're gonna have all these fun thoughts of the. So anybody who has nightmares, it is not mine or Brent's fault.
Yeah, I mean, but that's also, in a way, that is also Uranus. It's something that is making you get shocked, that jolt. Uranus, Sagittarius. Now this can be rather a bit of an energy that could put you in a sometimes not the best situation. Because Uranus is innovation, Sagittarius is the philosopher, the wise man, but is also organized religion. So now Uranus can be seen, Uranus Sagittarius can be stereotypically seen as somebody who is a blasphemer. Somebody that takes like a sacred text and says, you know what? God didn't make the world in 7 days. He made it in 6. What do you mean he made it in 6? Well, on the 7th, he did this. He didn't do anything on the last day. That doesn't count. But that's an example of, like, Uranus taking the script and then just saying, well, technically, he didn't do anything on that day. And another example is, like, there's a commandment of, like, that thou shalt not have no gods before me. Okay, hold the wine glass. So, no gods before him, huh? Okay, ladies, you're first. What? It doesn't say goddesses, it says gods. So, that's masculine. Ladies, go ahead. Oh, what? What do you mean it counts for both? No, it doesn't. It doesn't say goddesses, it just says that. That's Uranus and Sagittarius. It completely bamboozles what's been written and seen as part of, like, a religious structure. But it can also make somebody's view become hyper-dogmatic. It can, if it's not checked. Uranus in Capricorn. Uranus doesn't like it. Because Uranus now is being forced to go from, like, why do I have to stand like this? Why do I have to look like I'm in control of myself? Because you're in my domain, you stupid drunk. Why the heck are you even standing like that in the first place? What are you talking about? What do you mean I have to stand up straight? I like being on my side. Stand up straight! Because Uranus wants to be free. Saturn and Capricorn, it's strict. So the way that somebody carries themselves in, like, the professional world may be completely against the grain. And they may not care what they appear in front of, like, many people. So you can see somebody that is, like, crap, what's his name? One like really well known.
Dennis Rodman.
That one. There's also like they put on this energy of having like a lot of money and being professional, but they drive, like for example, somebody who's like a multi-billionaire driving a like a Honda.
Keanu Reeves.
That is has a lot of money, but it appears simple, or appears simple and seems eccentric, like having all this expensive brand name stuff on them, but they're poor. They don't have a lot of funds. They make it look like it, but they're not. And Uranus and Aquarius, well, there he's like, okay, I could be as eccentric as I want, but because Aquarius is a fixed sign, Uranus doesn't care, because you can't hold air. You can't make it fixed. You can't restrict it, because it'll just go. There's nothing physical to grab on it. And Uranus does also have this quality related to Aquarius, where Aquarius behaves the same way as the sign of Cancer does. But the only difference is that Aquarius is providing the nourishment and care to the entire world instead of just Cancer with just the immediate family. So Uranus and Aquarius will behave like it's in Cancer, meaning it wants to nurture everyone and inspire everyone, but at the same time, kind of be a bit like, okay, well, I've helped you guys, be expressive of yourself and push for your wants and needs. Handle. Because if you try to go with an Aquarius placement and try to be like, oh, that's interesting. You know what? I think I'm going to do that for myself. The minute you do that with somebody who's Aquarius dominant, they will look at you and go, really? You're copying me? It won't go over well. Then lastly, Uranus and Pisces. Oh boy. Oh boy. You're taking the sign of intoxication, and now you're putting it with a planet that breaks limits. Well, you can see that's a time where there's introduction of certain things that you can intake, and now you're like, oh, I can see something different, like a certain type of magical thing that's also usually seen as a fun guy. That's as far as I'm going. That is Uranus and Pisces, because it's like, oh, whoa, I can see all the colors of the rainbow all of a sudden. That's Uranus and Pisces. Your perspective takes a flip. Uranus and Leo. Think of Uranus and Leo, well, they find the most fun in things that are rather not usually the norm would think. How the heck do you find robotics fun? Well, because it's like this. You see like this big giant book of text that I wrote here for one program? You wrote all that? Yep. Front and back. Yep, every single word in that book. But what's in it? Oh, it's just telling a robot how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. How many pages is that? Give or take 2,000, front and back. A 2,000-page programming for a robot to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Are you serious? Yeah, because you have to define every little thing. What's a finger? What's a hand? What's twist? What's pull? What's release? How do I do all this stuff? That is robotics. That's Uranus. But now Leo is finding pleasure in it and enjoyment. And another way to look at Uranus, originally, how I look at Uranus, I like to say, think of Uranus as like that one uncle that comes to the family gatherings, and he never seems to always dress right. So, like, he goes to a wedding, he looks like he could be a certain kind of worker on the Vegas Strip. Like, Uranus, what are you going around looking like that? Wow, you never seen a show guy before? Cover yourself, Uranus, because we're at a funeral. Oh well. Well, but when she gets to the other side, she can have all the fun she wants. Uranus, you're not supposed to talk like that. That's Uranus, though.
So I'm going to see if anybody. Yes, we've had so much fun with Uranus. This has been a really, honestly, I'm so glad we did the planets. we'll be doing Neptune next week, and the week after that is Pluto, and then we're done with the planets. So we'll have like another fun topic for Spiritual Thursday. But if anybody has any questions about using Uranus in your spiritual practice or in astrology, please feel free to toss your questions in the chat. And while we wait, Brent, do you want to like just share where you're at and all that kind of fun stuff?
Well, I would say essentially I'm most of the time not really much doing anything. But if anybody ever wants to like learn astrology from me, because I mean I would love to have a student for once or students. I'm essentially, you can go to my link tree or even just message me, and we can get something set up. And when I teach, it's both the Western and specifically the Vedic way of doing astrology, because I combine both systems. But the way that I teach, it's in a way where it's both, say, I try to make it fun, enjoyable, and in a way where you can understand it and never forget it. But essentially, I do readings as well, and in my link tree, I do have a intake form if you want to have it done that way, or if you want to just figure out a time to have like a one-on-one for like a set period of time for, say, this many weeks or this amount, or if you just want to learn something specific, like say, want to learn what the planets are and the signs and the whatnot, or even just having a nice, strong foundation if you're wanting to pursue astrology and learn it and even do it professionally like I do, then you can do that also. And when I go live, well, just like Uranus, you never know, but when I do, prepare to be shocked.
And Brent is usually on my life. So if you're like, where he's usually here Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm just going to give the Eastern. I don't even live in Eastern, but it is easy to do it that way. So I am live on, like I said, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Tuesday is Tuesday Tarot. So we talk a little bit about tarot. Sometimes we get a little derailed, but we do one card pulls. So you'll get actually a card from me and a card from Bren. So it is pretty cool. You can put a question or you can just type general. So you keep that in mind for this coming Tuesday, because we will be doing Tuesday Tarot. Next week, again, here on Thursday, we'll be doing spiritual panel and we'll be talking about Neptune. So we'll talk about Neptune, how to work with it magically, and then of course in the astrological aspect, and we'll answer any questions. It is open panel, so if you have like input, you can always request to come up and chat with us and add because we love that. So and then Sunday, and I forgot to bring my book down, it's on my nightstand, but we are doing a chapter a week. And it's Anatomy of the Spirit by Carolyn Miss. And we're literally doing the sixth chakra, which is our, all of a sudden I'm like blanking today, our third eye chakra. So you guys are probably like, what is up with her? No, my allergies have been really bad, but this storm that just came through, I think they're starting to clear up. So it was my head telling me that a really bad storm was coming, and I lost power right before live, and then it came back. I was like, whoosh, that was that right there was Uranus. Like,
They've been like, what the heck is this? Okay.
Yes, it did. It's like last week Saturn was playing with me. This week Uranus is playing with me. All right, Neptune, I'm ready.
It's like last week was like, okay, oh, hold on, Missy. Nope. Oh, whoa. Easy.
Yes.
You need to learn some patience. Next week. Okay, we're not going to do that anymore. Hey, you broke that. I don't care. But you
Well,
can't
and it
get
was
away from me
funny.
forever.
I was so like, as we were getting more and more delayed, there were people that were like, I might have to change my flight. Well, there wasn't like there was any other way you could change your flight. Like you'd be late, and I'm like, I can't, I got to get on this. And I was like, oh, I might be late for my own live on TikTok. I was supposed to be landed for several hours.
And even another character that you could even say is like a Uranus, like heavy dominant figure is, well, kind of like Krusty the Clown. Hey kids, are you ready for the TV show? What? You're not ready for Itchy and Scratchy? Well then fine, get out of my studio, you little brats. Okay, that's it. I'm going to get a bottle. You guys take over. Because he goes from that one extreme and flips to the other. That's
Yeah.
that's Uranus.
So yes, Michigan, you probably will get a fun storm. I mean, it hit us here in Illinois, so I'm sure like it's kind of like hitting Indiana, but I know Wisconsin was supposed to be hit bad and they were on tornado watches all day, as was Missouri. So yeah, just stay safe because I'll tell you, the one that hit the Chicagoland area was very interesting. And once it gets over the lake, you never know what's going to happen. So yes, it is literally a Uranus type of day, which is always super fun here. So yes, today was the discussion on Uranus. I don't see a lot of huge questions about Uranus. So any questions anybody wants to throw out at us, unless, Bren, you think of anything we might have missed. I think thank you. Thank you so much, Carol, Australia. I'm just kind of, well, like, honestly, so I actually taught a class earlier tonight on mischievous magic and bindings. And, it's kind of ironic that I taught the class tonight because, again, we're talking about Uranus. And when I do my mischievous magic, it's like my way of like stopping someone maybe from gossip or like tongue tying them. And, you really are using Uranus when you're doing this, because instead of doing like a curse or a hex to somebody, you're doing something that's going to make people laugh, especially you. Like one of them I did was make somebody have stinky farts. So like that's one of the spells I taught tonight.
Actually, that reminds me. Uranus is also a planet that has dominion over the funhouse. Like going in the hall of mirrors, and it's like, look at you, look like you became a toothpick. Ah, look at that, now you're obtuse. Oh, wait a minute, now you're becoming a spiral. Oh, look at that, look at you twirl. Like you're bringing it right round, baby. Oh, where'd you go? Careful where you walk, you might just walk into a bonk. Yep, that's Uranus.
Yep. Yes. Because I was thinking about that while we were talking, that my class tonight, literally, I've done this whole time, every single, like, everything's been associated with the planets and our readings and everything. Is just kind of fun how there's so many synchronicities, and maybe they're always there, but we just didn't realize it. So.
And you could even also say the energy of, two more characters, good lord. Like, the scene from Alice in Wonderland where it's the on-birthday song for the first time. Ah, very merry on birthday to you. To who? To you! But I don't think it is my birthday. Ah, don't be silly. Here, have a cup of tea. Wait, here. Half a cup. But, okay, so what are you doing here in our birthday party? Well, I was just trying to find what? Don't tell me you work for that lady that goes off with his head all the time. Yeah, that queen of farts. What? Oh, I meant hearts. But that's Uranus, though.
Gotta love the Mad Hatter and the March Hare. Like, I think that's isn't that, and the Cheshire Cat. Like, I mean, there's like so many beautiful. You know what? Like, Lewis Carroll was really like, "Hey, Uranus, help me out here as I write this story." Lots and lots of fun stuff with that was like beautiful, Bren, to bring that up. What such a fun story. Oh, and I recommend Dr. Seuss. Yes. If you think about a lot of the Dr. Seuss stories, they're just so fun.
Jim Carrey. Yeah, I mean, now that, like when he did the Grinch. Ooh, that's it. I'm not going. That is definitely. I'm going, and that's that.
Yes, I like you think of it like, oh yes, classics. There's so many out there that we can associate with this beautiful chaos. And who doesn't love chaos, right? And I see chaos and chains is in here. Who doesn't love that? So yes, that's Uranus. Uranus is up there with their chains. They're ready to have some fun. So as always, I want to thank everybody. Thank you for all of the hearts. And I know we've had fun tonight. Like really, we're really incorporating, Uranus does bring a lot, and it has been fun and humorous tonight. And thank you so much for the gifts to everybody who's given gifts to both me and Bren. And I know Azrael was up a little bit earlier, and those who gave Azrael gifts while he was up. I'm not sure, Bren, do you know if Azrael's going live tonight? Because he usually goes live after me.
I think probably the same time as usual. I'm not sure.
Oh, see, I say his name and he shows up.
Ah.
Is that all I have to do? Like Beetlejuice, Azrael, Azrael, Azrael. And he'll then pop in.
So I've been listening.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually don't have nothing set up for a live. I've been working too much, and I think I need TLC. We all do need it at one point or another, and it'll be selfish of me doing a live where I know I need to self care. But you know what? This was a great topic, and you know what? I as the more I listen to it, from down there, you and Bren make a great team. Like I'm thinking this is like a radio station or a live podcast where you guys are actually chemistry. There's a lot of chemistry between both of you, and I'm not saying this just to say it. I actually love it. I don't mind being listening in. I love listening in because the animation, the honesty, the great energy, and the unpredictable flow that stated right there. Carol from Australia is saying yes, it flows energy. And that flow energy is so genuine and so beautiful. I'm pretty sure people will actually tune into something like this with more exposure. And a little more exposure. So for those that are here, spread the word, follow, share, and just like Rowan said, Tuesdays and Thursdays. You can find both Rowan and Brent here. Tuesday is free tarot, and actually, when they discuss about tarot card reading, you do get one card reading. So, whether it's a general or if you have a personal question, make sure to stop by, chime in, tell your family, everybody. People that are bugging you and asking you questions about something. Maybe say, you know what, I am tired of giving you the answers. Why don't you go to the tarots? They got the answers for you. And you will find Brandon and Rowan here. But yeah, I just wanted to say that, I've been listening in for the last half an hour, and it's been beautiful. And sometimes you guys that are new here, I do jump in there, give my perspective, and I do lives, but not tonight. Like I said, I sound energetic, but really I'm mentally and physically strained. My knee's killing me. My knee is unaliving me, and and I had a pain in my back. So it's because I'm overdoing it, and then with the heat, I lacked of quenching myself. So I have to remind myself to take water, and drink water throughout the day, especially days like this. But it's beautiful. It's a beautiful life.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, and here in Chicago, we went from like 30 degrees to like 80 degrees. Like there was no like build up to get us like ready for it. and
And it's a big difference, especially, when it's winter and we get 50 degrees, it feels so beautiful. But you know what? We didn't get that. We just got, like you said, we went from one extreme to the next extreme, and what is 80 degrees now feels like 180 degrees. So it's bad.
yeah, like I mean, I work from home for my regular job, and my husband came home the other day and he's like, it is so hot outside. And he turned the air conditioner on. And I walked out and I was like, oh, because I was like, oh, I'm going to go for a walk. And then I'm like, it's like muggy yuck. Like, I don't know if I'm going to go for a walk. I actually waited a couple hours for the sun to kind of go down because I was like, no, it's not walking that. But thank you so much, Azrael. Yeah, I think Bren and I actually have a lot of synchronicities, and I don't know how Bren feels about that, but I mean, it's just we're very in sync.
Perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and something like this, I'm pretty sure, if you guys can work with it a little bit more, and I'm seeing, maybe talk one on one, and I'm pretty sure there's people out there they're willing to sponsor something like this, like a live podcast with both of you, because you guys are great together.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, we will have to chat. Actually, I did have an idea I was going to reach out to Bren about, so I will reach out to you in the next couple days, Bren, about a pretty cool idea I had. So
Just an idea.
all right. Question: what is my sun and my moon and my ascension? My sun is Aries, my moon is Taurus, and my ascension is Scorpio. So I'm kind of a very interesting character. We'll leave it at that. And I don't know if I get enough grounding from my Taurus. And yes, that is a beautiful, yes, yoga is very beautiful. You know what else is a really good exercise? Tai Chi. I haven't done it in so long, but Tai Chi is very relaxing just to sit like moving the watermelon. I think that's what that one's called. But like, I mean, I went really fast there, but yes. And Azrael, listen to the solfeggio frequencies. That makes a huge difference. And this goes for everybody. Like if you're having a hard time sleeping or if your body is aching, the solfeggio frequencies will actually heal every single down to your minute cell. So I absolutely love Meditative Minds. There's a lot of them out there, but Meditative Minds is kind of my favorite one because they have a couple different types of sounds. And you can get them on like Pandora, SoundCloud, Spotify, also YouTube. The YouTube one, there's like several on YouTube that are like 9 hours long. I don't ever sleep that long, but I mean, if you sleep that long, kudos, like go for the 9 hour long one. But I have one that's about 6 hours and it starts at the lowest solfeggio frequency and goes to the highest one. So it literally goes down to all of your cells from your toes to your head. And so it's really nice. And like 6 hours is like that's the healthy, you should have 6 to 7 hours of sleep every night. So, the 6 hour one is really perfect for that. Even if you have an hour of sleep without the solfeggio frequencies, you're at least, when we're sleeping, we're supposed to be rejuvenating our bodies. And so it helps to have that extra boost. So I don't know if Bren, you want to add anything, an extra boost or anything fun you do?
Well, usually when I go live, I tend to do like the ghost tube and things like that. And I tend to get a little feisty and pushy. Well, not pushy, but a little bit like, okay, ghost, why you keep interrupting me? That's not very nice. How'd you like it every time you try to speak, I go back? Yeah.
Ghost tube is fun. If no one download it. I'll use it in cemeteries and haunted houses or haunted places that I go. But one night I was working with my ancestors at my ancestry altar. And I'm like, all right, I was really tired. It was late. I had to get up early. So I said goodnight and I started walking away from my ancestors. My cell phone was on my nightstand. I didn't even have it in there with me. I go to lay down. They turn the phone on and they're like, we wanted to talk a little longer. That's literally, they turned my phone on, turned it into ghost tube, and it literally said, we wanted to talk a little longer. I'm like, all right, I need to go to bed.
Yep. And another thing too, now this is also kind of like where in certain places, specifically, honestly, like say, if you're in your own home, you can be in a position where you can kind of have that boundary line in the sand. So if you're using that and there's a connection or a spirit that's getting out of line, you can stand up and push back against it because it's your space. But if you go to a cemetery, you cannot do that. You cannot do that because now you're in their home. And if you're not going to respect them, well, if you get whacked or something happens where you go trip face plant in the mud, don't say anything bad to them.
Azrael, you remember what happened that one time.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just thinking about that as soon as Brent said that. If you want to share that, but yeah, I seen it, and it's evident, it's there, and I've seen it, face plant, not me or any of the adults. A child was involved because the child was not behaving, and it was actually shown. It was actually shown by the spirits. You know, you don't listen to the adults. This could happen to you, and sure enough, the child's expression was like, "Oh, you guys, I got pushed." Face first. Yes.
Yes, it was Azrael and I and the child's parent was there, and the child does have some Clara abilities and wanted to go to this ritual we were doing in the cemetery, and it was like, I can't remember. I mean, if I didn't laugh, I was trying very, very hard not to, because we were like, you have to be behaved. The spirits don't like when you don't do it. But yes, actually, Bren, I have, like, the only spirits allowed in my house are my spirit guide team and my ancestors. So other spirits who want to communicate with me aren't allowed. But yeah, it was literally my family. I'd been communicating with some grandparents who'd passed, and they weren't done. I'm like, can we talk tomorrow? And they were like, yes, fine. And then they turned my phone off. But it was like, it is really interesting when you use Ghost Tube.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, I have this perspective of like, I like to keep myself open and give anything the opportunity and the chance to come towards. But if I make the decision to welcome it in and keep it around, that's up to my discretion. Because I feel the perspective of like, if something wants to have that connection and be genuine with it, okay, I can give it that chance. But if it's gonna start hissy fitting, no.
Yeah. Yes. And we do need to show respect when we're working with spirits.
Especially in the cemetery and the passed on. For me, that's kind of like, okay, that's not optional. It's either you do that or you do that.
Yeah. Well, they have the shows, the ghost hunt shows, and they intentionally are trying to aggravate the spirits.
Yeah. It's just like, why don't they have somebody that understands that if you're wanting to have an experience like that, it's not that difficult. Like, say, if you're going to go to a cemetery to have that experience, it is not difficult to follow a set structure, showing the honor and respect, and then kindly asking for it, and allow them to make that choice. If it happens, yay. If it doesn't happen, then it doesn't. You're giving them that opportunity and show that you would like that to happen, but you're not being pushy with it. You're extending that invitation for it. And if it's genuine, and if they choose to, then there you go. But constantly, like, for an example, I can't remember which one it was that really agitated me. I think it was something involving, like, I think they went to a certain cemetery and somebody was just, oh crap, what is it? I'm remembering it exactly, I just don't remember specifically what it was. But essentially what they did is they walked to a certain site, and they were just saying things like, well, like, there was one that had like what's that called, like an above ground
mausoleum.
It essentially it had damage to it, and then they said, oh well, this person probably had somebody be like get them grave robbed or something like that. And I mean, for me, that makes me think, are you sure it just isn't the natural cycle of like how things waste away and break away? And furthermore, why are you trying to come up with BS stuff? And why aren't you letting the groundskeeper know or the undertaker know that, hey, this is happening? Could we maybe possibly do something to make sure it gets fixed? Because things like that, if you notice something in a cemetery, it's best to just take the initiative. Like, for example, one thing that gets me into high gear is that if you see a site or like a name plaque or just something and it's covering the name, if you at least just clean off where the name's at, that helps make that spirit be remembered. And that minor little thing means a lot.
It does. Even just saying their name. means a lot. Just so everybody does know, like at cemeteries, the family is responsible to fix any damage to mausoleums and headstones. If your family member served in the military, the military will replace the headstone. So if your family bought one and they served in like the Navy or the Air Force or Marines or Army, and the headstone gets damaged, you actually don't have to buy a new one. You can actually, there's just a form you fill out, you send it to the Pentagon, and actually the cemeteries will help you fill that paperwork out. They will help you send it, but you have to be a family member. Now, when you're not a family member, there is a process you can go through. So, like the cemeteries where, like Civil War people lived, have passed, and their headstones are severely damaged. It is a lot harder process to go through to get those headstones replaced, but you can do it. You do need to work with the cemetery though, or the graveyard where you're at. So that's something to kind of keep in mind.
What?
Go ahead, Brian.
To do a baptism for? Wait, like they try to baptize somebody who's passed away? I'm just reading what Sunbun said, and I'm trying to make heads and tails.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So Sunbun, I know, was part of the Mormon community. Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was part of the Mormon community. Yes, they do baptisms for those who have passed. They try to like convert into religion.
Oh man, that's pulling on the side of me that's trying so hard not to come out. Because it's just like, you have somebody who passed away. Why are you trying so hard trying to force them in a direction that they didn't choose or didn't consent to or not willingly choosing on their own? But don't do that.
Yes. And yes, they're done. Like, yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm just getting like an input from hell, and she's like, "Oh, you think you're cute trying to, make somebody deceased go where you want, huh? Really? You really think you're gonna do that, huh? Stop it."
Yeah, man. Yeah, actually, like that's very interesting to think about. I actually never went that far into the religion, like to go to the temples and do that. But yes, that is something that they do. Like that's like their let's get everybody in the world converted.
Now, don't get me wrong. I can completely understand, like, say for an example, if they have like the good intent of it, but it don't matter the intent behind trying to help, quote unquote, help save people. If you're violating their voice, it's not helpful.
Yes.
It is
Because
not helpful.
we should get permission from them. Like the concept is you have to be a family member. And Sunbun, if you want to like add anything, because I have left, it's been a very, I don't know. I mean, you may have left a long time ago too. Like you're supposed to be a family member, even though like you can do genealogical research and see that people that were not family members were like doing those baptisms.
And I mean, I don't know. In fact, it just leaves a vibe of like the intent of like a specific form of baptism. Well, I think I might be wrong here, even though ironically I do have a baptism certificate. Ironically, I think if somebody's being baptized, I think the same factor is that they are choosing to get it done in the first place. They're consenting in the first place.
Yeah.
So, is it really a baptism, or is it trying?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
That's the right.
You go and you basically take the name of the person and they dip you in the water and take you up.
Yeah, and I don't think also doing that to somebody who's kicked the bucket. I don't think putting them in that, or even mimicking the states of that, like say with whichever route they do, they're still not consenting. And if you're
Well, and And they're on the other side. So they're going to know if that concept is even right. And so if it's not, like,
Oh boy.
I mean, can you imagine if all of a sudden you're having like really bad luck all the time? Well, it might be because of that.
Well, because I mean, the way that I see it is that, well, not only are you taking in indirectly doing spiritual attack on passed on, everything that is done like that, let's just say metaphorically, the word gets out. The word gets out. And working with, like, say, a spirit that is having that rulership over the deceased and is a caretaker, like Hell would be one, Hades would be one, Osiris, Anubis would be one.
Hecate.
Yeah, if they catch wind of that, oh boy. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to really be on that side with Hecate and Persephone and Hades? I mean,
And I mean, oh gosh, and even that, I mean, it's still, honestly, in a way, this is going to kind of sound like a big bamboozle. Well, Uranus, here we go. If they're doing that, technically, they're doing a form of necromancy because they're working with the dead. That is necromancy. Anything with the dead, that is necromancy.
well, when I had left the church, I was like, oh, this is actually witchcraft. This is actually witchcraft. Like, I was going through, I had like a list somewhere. I don't even know if I still have the piece of paper. But the Mormon church does do actually a lot that I would qualify as different forms of witchcraft, necromancy being one of them. Yes.
And usually, speaking of necromancy, and the real thing with necromancy, I mean, I like to keep it very simple. Like, so simple that even, let's just say, what's his name from Of Mice and Men? The one that was trying to get Larry to, can we tend to rabbits? Like, even he can understand it. If it involves anything pertaining to somebody who's passed away.
I'm totally forgetting the names. Lenny.
Oh, yeah, that was his name, buddy. If he can understand this, anybody can. That kind of level. But it's like, if it involves history, remembering history, you're going back in the time, you're remembering something, you're giving homage to something that was once on this earth, that is necromancy. Studying history, that's necromancy. Because you're bringing life back to those people at that time, you're making them walk the earth again in your mind. Their name gets said in your mind, and then they come to life again. Acting like if they're alive. That's necromancy. If we're going to be really, like, pinpoint down on it.
Yeah. Always fun here. We go from Uranus to necromancy. You never know what you're going to get when you join. Just so everybody is aware.
The box of chocolate effect.
What?
The box of chocolate effect. You never know what kind of chocolate you're going to get, even if you get chocolate at all. Might be, oh, sorry, it's a box of cobwebs.
So, just a reminder, Tuesday Tarot, we do 1-card readings, and you get a card from me and a card from Bren. Here on Thursdays is spiritual panel, and next week we'll be talking about Neptune and Neptune's energy, how we can use it in our spiritual practice and in astrology, of course. And then Sunday is Witchy Book Club. We're doing Anatomy of the Spirit by Carolyn Miss, and I'm always live on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I did see a comment. Let's see. Sorry to be whistleblower. I'm just not exactly focused on the negativity and more objectivity. But the reason I speak of it is because it's what made me who I am. Yeah, like, I mean, it can shape us, and it actually does open our eyes up to things, you know, all this uniqueness in different religions. So, and that's why there's like a spiritual community. We can all learn and grow and do what we need to. So, yes, well, we're going to wrap up for the night. So, Bren, go ahead. Why don't you say your goodbye and anything else you want to like last minute add?
So long, farewell, I don't know the rest of the lyrics, so good luck, take care, beware of the moat and the crocodiles in the water.
Thank you, Bren. Azriel?
I love that. I don't have anything as creative as that, but I hope everybody just keeps an open mind and allow yourself to be the best version of yourself by experiencing things that you limit yourself from actually limiting, yourself from being able to partake or even have knowledge of. It's good to be observant and it's good to partake at least in some things once so that way you have the experience because life is about having that authentic genuine experience versus living in dogma and being under a spell where you're worried of every move and everything is actually gonna hurt somebody else when in actuality you're in full control of your destiny. So just love yourself, be yourself, and if you find yourself alone, the more that you love yourself you realize more individuals will actually start to show up. You're going to be embraced by those that actually are just minded and those that actually care as well for you as they care for themselves. So just with that, and thank you, Rowan and Brent, for sharing tonight. Rest well. May you guys have a prosperous weekend and a very memorable one too as well. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Azriel. Well, as always, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for the hearts. I really appreciate it. And thank you for giving all the gifts that were given to us tonight. So if I did not personally thank you so much. We all appreciate it. And as always, merry meet, merry part, bright blessings, and namaste.